Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to go over one of the biggest issues really I see in most of my lessons, targeting. Targeting is simply one of the most important things in bowling. You can have one of the best swings ever, you can release the ball incredible. If you're not targeting correctly, none of that matters, because bowling is kind of like darts. It's a point and shoot game, right? We're trying to roll it over a target. If you're only doing one of those two things, you're probably not going to be very successful. As you can see behind me, we have the torch. We're going to use that to showcase how you may or may not be targeting correctly. Here at Turbo, so many of our lessons, we start always with fit. That's probably the most common problem we see in our, especially youth bowlers, high school bowlers. Secondly, it's targeting. How we work on it with them is teaching them something called three-point targeting. And what you do is you take a pin, as you can see behind me, you take somewhere in the middle of the lane, and then you take somewhere with the arrows, and you draw a line through those 3 points, and hopefully that matches up to where you're looking at the arrows, so you have a clear picture of where you want your break point to be, somewhere in the middle lane where your ball will transition, and the arrows. And so how we're going to use the torch is I've set the torch up on board 7, which would be my break point on this lane. I'm going to stand on 25, and you'll find that the torch tells me to look around 15. So we're going to do that. And so when I do my three-point targeting, I'm using the 10 pin as my target. I'll find that the torch goes right through the 10 pin. And yes, I know that many of you guys will not have torches, but that's okay. Just look at the pin, draw an imaginary line back. And for me, this line tells me somewhere around 15, 16. And so what's important here, and many of you may not know this, is if you're left or right eye dominant. I am left eye dominant, so I tend to miss left of my target. So if I'm looking at 15, I'll most likely hit 17. I've learned this over a lot of time. A lot of ways, a way to learn more about this is when you do this three-point targeting, start to notice if you start the ball left of that line or right of that line. And you'll start to learn if you're left or right eye dominant. But for me, left eye dominant, so I know I'm going to look at 15 here. I'm probably going to hit somewhere around 17. All right, so I'll be standing on 25 here. The torch tells me I'm going to look right around, 15, 16-ish. I'm going to go with 16. Honestly, first try at it, you guys may or may not believe me, my first try at it, I did it. As you can see, I hit the torch, that's why the light changed. It went right down my intended target line. But what you'll know is that yes, I was looking at 16, I clearly hit 18, but part of that is because of my footwork, which we'll get into in just a second. So as you can see, in the view that you saw of me throwing that shot, the torch obviously did not move, right? The line stayed the same. But for me, as I walked and I drifted left, that line went with me, so that torch line moved a little bit. And so when I got to the foul line, it actually told me I should be looking around 18 based on where I moved. But where I set up at was correct. The line looked perfect, right over 16. But I know that it's correct because I still hit that break point where the torch is, hitting on the line I intended. So super happy with that. Now how, without a torch, can you make sure you're looking in the right spot? You're going to set up, do the three-point targeting where you look at the pin, look somewhere halfway on the lane, and then look at the arrows that you choose, and then draw that imaginary line in your head. I want you to throw a shot, okay? And then after you throw the shot, stay at the foul line, post your shot, and then look at that same spot again. If you look at that same spot again, what the most common error is most people are looking too far right. Most people are sliding at board 25 and looking at 10. And when you're at the arrows, when you're way up here, and you're looking at the arrows from 25 and you're looking at 10, what you'll find is you're probably actually going to throw it in the gutter if you hit 10. So your body subconsciously pulls the ball left of that target to keep it on the lane. I'm going to have Jillian behind the camera stand on 25 at the foul line and show you where the torch would have a look. And then I'm going to have her stand at 25 back where we normally stand to show you the difference in what the torch does and what it tells you about where you're looking on the lane. As you can see, as we stand here, the torch clearly says that if we want that break point, we should probably be looking at 17. And now let's show you the view from where we normally stand. As you can see from where we normally stand, the torch would have us look at 15. So that's why it's so important that after you throw the shot, You're making sure you look down, one, at where you're sliding to make sure it's consistent, but seeing if where you're looking shows the same picture that you saw when you were setting up originally. Three-point targeting is incredibly important as we're competing, especially at single pin spares. I hear so much that pesky 10 pin and pesky 7 pin, I can't really knock it over. Majority of the time, yes, there might be something physical going on where we might not be keeping our shoulders on the target long enough, stuff like that. However, the most important thing I see is where we're looking. The targeting is so incorrect most of the time, especially when you're going across the whole lane. If you're standing on the very left side of the lane as a right-hander and looking at 15, the third arrow, one, you're going to want to walk towards your target, but two, that's way too far right. So making sure you do three-point targeting on your single pin spares especially the 10 pin, 7 pin. When you're looking at the 10 pin, draw that line back through the arrows from where you're standing and try to keep that line as you're walking. And if you feel like that line changes drastically, that's maybe a time to go see a coach and get to working on your footwork, because that would probably be the root of the problem. I'm actually going to put cones on the lane real quick. This is going to hurt. This is going to, oh, ah, hello, okay, oof, oof, come on, ah, all right. All right, we're back. So I put a couple cones on the lane, and that's because, honestly, there's so many bowlers out there that look between those two places. Yes, the arrows are the easiest. They're never moving, they're never changing. But that may not be great for you. If you have bad eyesight, it's totally okay to move your targeting up all the way to what we'll call the cherry dots, and or where that cone is. Some even look at the foul line, Big West Malott. And then there are plenty of people who have great eyesight, and thankfully I'm one of them, that when I'm bowling competition and stuff, I'm looking way down the lane. I want to be as close to my break point as possible. But what's never changing is the three-point targeting. I am looking somewhere on that path. I just happen to look farther down the lane. When you go practice, mess with where you look on the lane. Don't always look at the arrows. Don't get stuck. Try them all out. See if there's something that works better for you. Simply, targeting is so important. I mean, every lesson I work with, at some capacity, we're working on targeting when it comes to ball motion, where we're standing, are we standing there correctly? It all kind of comes back to where we're looking. Making sure that you're going through this, making sure that you're checking at the line. It's just, I'm always surprised at the amount it makes people better when they start looking in the correct place. It helps swing changes, all that kinds of stuff. I hope this video has helped you. Please check out some of the others. Leave some feedback in the comments below. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.